Okay, I'm Paul Roberts. I'm the keeper of antiquities at the Ashmolean, and I'm the curator of Last Supper in Pompeii.
I'm Ilaria Perzi. I'm the administrator of antiquities and the assistant curator of Last Supper in Pompeii.
So today, the grand opening, how are you feeling about it?
Wonderful.
Proud is
Can't
the
believe
word
it.
I've used so many times. If I'm allowed, proud of being on the project.
Certainly allowed.
Because I think it's been an amazing journey, 2.5 years. Proud because I'm Italian, and I think this is a show that, you know, really showcased my country to its best. And I'm proud for the team and the team effort that is behind a show like this. So
Yes, I too am not Italian, but to have put together an exhibition which is really only possible because of the kindness, the generosity and the professionalism of our Italian colleagues, for me is very important. I've lived in Italy for about 7 years altogether, and I've always been extremely fond of it, and to bring a part of Italy to Oxford and to have something which is about an ordinary life, the everyday lives that people have in their homes, in their kitchens. This is very important. So yes, feeling relieved that
Yes.
it's all open and it's happening, but also, yes, I agree, very proud, very proud. Naples Museum, Pompeii and the city of Pisa have been incredibly generous, and they let us have masterpieces from their displays. It's one thing to have something from the reserve collections, but they have given us beautiful things from the gallery. That amazing fish mosaic, the beautiful fresco of the god Bacchus standing next to Mount Vesuvius, and the skeleton mosaic. You know, all these are masterpieces in the gallery at Naples Museum, but here they are in Oxford.
and the largest collection of carbonized food, really, including the bread. And it was not easy to convince me to get the bread, because actually they're very, very fragile. So I'm not sure in the future how many of these pieces will be able to travel
It's very true.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
And
No, it has been the generosity of the Italians, also the vision. They understood what we wanted to do. It's a different concept. It's not just a Pompeii show. It's a show that looks at food, and the best way to look at food and drink is through Pompeii. And they got that, and so they supported the project completely. And they've given us things that really, sometimes we had to pinch ourselves when they said yes, because these are things that are prizes in their own institutions, but they've lent them to us. So it is a mark of how generous, but also how wonderful the Italians are at having a vision that this was going to be something they wanted to support.
in Italia, also, I have to say that Italians love food, generally speaking. I think you speak to their heart, because actually inviting someone over, we've had it as an experience with the conservators that come over.
Yes.
It's actually, as the exhibition talks about, food is a way of connecting, not necessarily, just to, show off, but really to engage as a friend, to welcome you, to make you feel part of the group. So it really, and in society in Italy, this is still, the case. And also it's a safe topic of conversation. So actually, when us Italian meet,
We can all relate.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. So without having to have
Although
fights.
I have seen huge arguments in Italy about how to make a particular sauce, or how to
But passion, this is passion.
passion,
Yes,
exactly. And I think the Romans would have had the same passion, whether it was in a fine dining room or in a pub. They would have argued about the right way to present it or cook it or the right sauce. So I think this tradition of food is something that wasn't alien at all to the Romans. And in fact, it may be where the Italians got some of their ideas from this Roman love of food.
This is the pinnacle of the dream. What happens next?
What happens next is that I, as head of department, Ilaria, as the administrator, and with all this experience of being the assistant curator of this show, will help our colleagues in our department to put on their exhibitions. And we've got a wonderful exhibition coming up about ancient Crete, the civilization of the Minoans, the Minotaur. So that will be coming to Oxford in a few years. That's what we'll be doing.
But in the meantime, for everybody watching who is fascinated in this, it's on until the...
It's on until the 12th of January.
Is it?
Next year.
Okay.
It's on for 5.5 months,
Wow.
the longest exhibition we've ever had at the Ashmolean.
Is it?
Yes. And it's nice that the director has put the faith in an archaeological exhibition to be that longest show.
And you need to buy tickets to come to the specific exhibition? Yeah?
You do.
And how
Under 12s come free.
Yeah, okay. And there'll be talks and all sorts of bits you can...
There are going to be a lot of talks. The Director General of Pompeii is going to come and give a talk.
So just in terms of you two wandering around when it was actually finished, apart from obviously pride, just still marvel at the objects and the history and what you see. Have you ever lost the love of it over the
Never.
preparation of this?
The more you go around the exhibition, the more you fall in love with these things, because they're not museum artifacts, they're possessions. People owned these things. They commissioned them, bought them in a shop, used them, broke them. They're possessions.
But also for me is that when you pick them, they are in a store and they tell a story of them being in the store. When you then put them together as a group, they tell you another story altogether.
When you see them together, they speak even more loudly. They tell a different story when they're all together. When we go around it, we think of ourselves in our teams, working in the family business.
Yeah.
It really brings that home to you. When the last object, the resin lady,
I know.
the person, the real person is here.
Well, I was going to ask, you asked us, what would you take from your home? What would you take from this exhibition if you had to take one thing?
I had to take one thing from an exhibition. Do you know, it's rather like when you own a sweet shop. You don't eat sweets much. I'd either have to say the whole thing, to single out one thing, the fresco with Bacchus and Vesuvius is a very important and very powerful thing, because it's joyous. There he is, a bunch of grapes with the abundance of Vesuvius by the side of him, the wine, the vineyards, and its life. It's the slave's shrine that it comes from. So again, that reminds us that, the people behind the scenes. And the other thing, I would save the resin lady. I would save her.